right, welcome back into another episode of Indiebnb. Today I am joined by James Lavender out of the Atlanta indie pop scene. James, how are we feeling today, man?
Feeling really good. I'm very glad to be here.
All right, awesome. Well, obviously we met over at the Jed Harrelson show, through our buddy Jared. So shout out Jared for hooking this up, and super excited to highlight some. As we grow and expand in Atlanta, like love getting some local folks, involved here and, continuing to grow the audience here. So, I guess for you, like, how'd this thing get started? Like, where'd you begin this kind of project?
So I was always in music, like from about 9 years old and kind of in and out of it. The most recent thing I did before like the James Lavender project I'm in now was through college. I sang for hip-hop artists, and that was like what I did for years. We opened for B.O.B. We had a good little run and a lot of fun there, but then everyone kind of grew up and a lot of people got married. I went to grad school and kind of had stepped away from music for a few years. COVID kind of froze us out from a lot, and around 2021 I moved to Atlanta, and I moved here for work. And it was like one of those things in life where I was just kind of like looking around at like what I wanted my life to look like in a few years. And music was just kind of like this thing that had always haunted me because it's like I always wanted to be in it. And so some friends of mine and my brother and my sister were just like, you should just write more songs and start open micing. And that's really what I did. And it was just kind of through getting addicted to the open mic scene here in Atlanta, which is very alive and very... very full. I met really all of the friends that I have today I've met through open mics. Like that's my entire Atlanta community at this point. And if I didn't meet somebody through an open mic, I met them through someone that I met at an open mic. So it just kind of grew from there. And that's how I met my producer. That's how I met everybody that plays when I do a full band. That's how I met like a lot of the people that like even right now as I'm working on some future stuff, like I have kind of like a creative director, a producer, and a vocal coach. And like I said, all those people just through open micing and, kind of just hanging out those nights, you find people that you vibe with, and, open mics turns into coffees, turns into just hangs, and it turns into professional work. And so that's kind of how it kind of like came to life here in Atlanta for me.
Awesome. I mean, what are some of the spots when you the first one you did, and then like ones where you kind of got some traction, like what those look like? What places were they at?
So there was a few small ones that I hit once or twice, but I can give one specific open mic a real shout out. Like it was the real place I think where I grew and I thrived. And there's one on Tuesday nights at Southern Feed Store Bateco. And that is one where like I met a lot of my friends. And then there's the friends that I didn't meet there I met at Eddie's Attic on Monday nights. So they have an open mic there. And so those two communities have been really good. Eddie's Attic is a little more, it's the singer-songwriter. It's like only live acoustic instruments and vocals. And they also only let you participate in that one like once a month. And so that one's really good, and I've made lots of connections there. But the one at the Southern Feed Store, you can be there every week if you want to be there. And you can hang out with the same people. And so that was really, it was kind of like, that was really the group and the family that I fell into, and as people have came and left Atlanta, I've kept a lot of friends. But the closest people I really have today were just those two open mics, are where I've met everyone that I know.
Wow. Southern Feed Store, where is that at? Just so if, our local listeners know where we can get it. In the AV? Yeah. Okay.
In the EAV, right there on the strip, down from the Earl, down from all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Sorry to talk over you there, but yeah.
All good. No, all good. All good. Yeah, love it. Well, as you kind of were getting into this, you've gotten some, songs out now on Spotify. Like, I'm assuming because of the, the things you went and grinded at the open mics and figured out, and how many times do you go and play, some of these songs like Ghost and Icarus and Birmingham at Southern Feed Store in order to kind of get them right, and get them where you wanted them?
Oh my goodness, it's too many times. It's really almost comical to think about the process so the songs that I have out right now, I held on to those for a year minimum before I really stepped into the world of recording, before I really stepped into the world of like having like a team that helps me bring these things into the professional sphere. And honestly, it was like, if I could tell any artist anything, it's like early on, just record music and release a song. I was far too precious with my work to where I did, like you're talking, how many times did I play at open mic? I guarantee you I sang all of those songs at an open mic at least 100 times. Because I was hitting 3 or 4 open mics a week and singing the same kind of like dozen songs. And I was even like, and this is where it gets to where it's like, it shouldn't have happened this way, but it did. It was like, I was doing shows. Like I was on bills and I had no music on platforms. Like I was just doing not Eddie's Attic shows, but I was doing Smithsonian Bar shows. Mm-hmm. And the Earl and places like that. I even got to do a really cool show, 2 really cool shows in London back in 2024, performing all of these songs that are out, performing Icarus, performing Ghost, and all this kind of stuff. Had never recorded them. Like it was just like it was. I had just made, people had seen me live, they enjoyed me live, and so they booked me, and I just made friends and made connections, and they booked me, and I just kept like waiting to feel like I was ready to go into the studio. And the truth of the matter is you'll never feel ready. Your songs will never feel finished. And honestly, I think I had this like really big misconception about like, I felt like I had to take a song this far and then I could take it to a studio. And it was really one of my dear friends, another local artist that is just a legend already. His name's Aaron Rizzo. Came up to me after an open mic and was like, this song you just sang, you need to record. And he is an incredible artist, and that's like his thing, but he also is very well talented, is a brilliant producer. And I was just like, I will record it if you produce it, because he was somebody that I already loved, I already trusted, I already knew cared about me and my music, and mm-hmm. You know, I kind of like felt safe with him. And so he has been my producer ever since, and has really done a lot to walk with me through there. And he will play in my band when I do full band stuff, and it's really kind of been a really big thing. And there was another artist that was local to Atlanta. His name's Chris Hart. He's now in London. Another brilliant guy, and he was another one that was like, you need to start doing this. And so he kind of helped me start prepping my music for the studio, and then when things lined up with Aaron, we got in there. And now at this point, we're working on some new stuff. I kind of have myself on a rhythm to where like I'm writing a song a week, mm-hmm. and going into the studio and recording that song like every week. And so I'm writing a song. I will go do it at an open mic just to give it some oxygen. I'll go home and work on it a little bit more, and then I'll go into the studio. And so it's so different from like the 100 plus times I sang these songs versus now it's like I'll sing it once or twice and I'll get in there, just because I now kind of like have a better footing for beginning to end what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I think like if no one comes up and tells you, like it's like, it seems like it's like a, you know, you want to keep because they're personal, right? They're, you know, it's yeah. Art, right? It's not like you want to, you know, put it out there and not be, you know, where you want it to be. And so I think like I'm glad that Aaron stepped up and and said, hey man, put it in the studio, let's go.
Yes, and it's basically exactly like that. And you're right. It's the fear of, well, like one, it's like when you publish a song, you can't tweak it anymore. You can't make adjustments. There's nothing else you can do. And the fear of rejection. It's like, and if I put it out there and the world doesn't like it, because it is so personal. It's like publishing pages out of your journal or your diary or whatever you keep. And like, and if they reject it, then they reject me. And that is mm-hmm. terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. Obviously, you know, if I'm writing I write my journal and it's on my phone. If like I'm dead afraid if that ever got out. But you know, I think like, you know, as songwriters, you guys take the bold move to put it out there, and hopefully, you know, it hits. Like, you know, that's the end goal, right?
It is, and honestly, that's kind of like why I feel so much freer now in doing what I'm doing, is because in putting the music out, I've gotten to see how it exists in the world. Like once it's given oxygen, and you know, and I've been stopped by people on the streets of Atlanta and that I have never met and never knew, who recognized me, who recognized my music, and I got to hear how that song made them feel seen, because the same kind of like broken parts of me that I was trying to express through the song, they resonated with, and like that's all. I think that's all I've ever wanted out of my music, mm-hmm. is for people to feel present and to feel in a community, or like at least seen or known in some way when they listen to it. Because that's, I mean, you know, our experiences, while they are unique to us, like they're not really like we're all kind of struggling in the same very crazy life world that we're in, and so yeah, because we are willing to put out these songs with these very raw topics, you give other people the opportunity to just experience that and feel like you and them have this bond, and I love that. That's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah. One more thing before we get into the song spotlight. As far as like the open mic, one of the things I noticed about, artists who, a lot of people who play the singer-songwriter and the Eddie's Addicts, they really kind of have the stories kind of locked in, between the songs. So like, whenever you were doing the open mics, was that something you intentionally kind of locked in, and we're trying to get like really tightened of like, all right, like here's exactly what I was feeling when I wrote this song. Here's because like to me that's the context that I like whenever I hear it. But like what is that something you intentionally practice in those open mics?
It has become that. Honestly, my opinion on talking at open mics has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And it's evolved because like early on, I think I made a mistake that a lot of artists make, and I do think it's a mistake. And the fact that like I got up there and I just started yapping, and I would be like I would talk for like 3 minutes about my 4-minute song, and then I would sing the song. And I think just once I got a little bit deeper into music and started doing like more showcases and more shows, and then I went back to the open mic, I was like, oh, like an open mic is not my show, and so not saying that I won't say something about a song. I really don't anymore at open mics. I kind of get up there and because it's like I kind of want the song to be tested on its own merit without me giving it any exposition. Like I want to see what people take from the song without having any cheat codes or like a guide to it. And so that's definitely a part of it. But I think it is a good practice. For me, it's like in the car or something like that, where it's like you kind of do, if you are, and like everyone is different, but if you are going to speak about your song, you definitely need to rehearse it. It's kind of like a comedian's type 5.
Yeah.
Like you need to know how you're going to explain this song well in a succinct way. Because especially if you're open micing, you really have to be conscientious about the fact that there's a lot of people trying to express their art, and you don't want to eat up someone else's time. And so yeah, say what you need to say it well, say it quickly, and then sing your song. And I did not do that well early on, and it was through some, very blunt friends that were just like, hey, maybe you need to like just sing your songs. And I was like, you know what, that hurts a little, but thank you. And they made me better. And it really, it translates all the way up into how I plan my shows out now, because like when I have like my set list for a show, say I'm doing 10 songs, you have to pick like 1, maybe 2 at the most songs that you get to storytell on. And depending on what kind of show it is, that's different. Like if it's a house show and it is more of a conversation, then that's a lot more. But if it's like a Smithsonian bar show, like you're not stopping to bring the energy. You're not like you're there for vibes and to create energy and that kind of stuff. And so you got to be more intentional about whatever space it is. But I rehearse everything, and I go back and I listen to it, and I am probably a little I'm too self-conscious to not rehearse things like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I've always wondered the type 5 kind of thing. Like, I mean, multiple people I've seen do it, and so I was always curious about that. But all right, well let's get the exposition on Ghost. I mean, let's if we're on the open mic, like before we get to play it, we can't play it on here, but like what if we were to play it, like what were the what's the story? How to become something something to nothing, or nothing to something. Jesus.
Nothing to something. Yeah. No, Ghost is actually the one that gets exposited if I'm doing 10 songs. Just because I love to see the reaction in people's eyes as I kind of give them the story behind it and like what was done to create it. And really I think Ghost was born out of kind of like a collection of experiences of mine, but there definitely was one specific experience that triggered it. And it was a really close friend of mine. Like he was like the only person I knew when I moved to Atlanta. And we had been good friends for a while, and we were like really good friends for my first year that I lived here. And, still to this day, I don't know exactly what happened, and I have no ill will against this person. And if we ever became friends again one day, I would be very happy about it. but we went from being like essentially brothers in my eyes, and that's the way I felt. He felt the same way, and he started disappearing. And he just stopped showing up, and he started canceling plans, and I wouldn't hear from him for days at a time, which was just a very weird break in behavior. And at first, we respect our friends. Sometimes we need space. Sometimes you need to let them have space, and that's what I thought it was at first. But then after about 3 months, I finally texted him, and I was like, hey, did I do something? Did I say something? Because we went from being like ride or dies to I have not seen you in 3 months, and that hasn't happened in like 5 years. And he texted me back. He said, you know what? I really just kind of got tired of pretending to be your friend.
Man.
And that is exactly the
That's
text.
a deep...
It's like that was the text. And you tell everybody that. And the whole room goes, ooh.
Oh, my goodness. That's like putting a lit cigarette out on your arm. Like, God damn.
It gutted me. And that's, it puts you in a great place to journal and write music, but it just, that experience kind of made me think over just like a lot of seasons of life, because I moved around a ton as a kid, and then even going through like college, undergrad, graduate school, moving to Atlanta, it's like there's a lot of people that like were really, really close to me in seasons of my life that like I never speak to anymore, but thanks to social media, I get to kind of be haunted by their continued existence without me. And so that was kind of where Ghost came from, is it really is this song about learning what it feels like to be a ghost to people that you were really close to before. And he was the one in our, and that's it was a friendship, and it was his and mine friendship, and like just seeing how that ended and seeing how it continued on, and it's like you just exist as a ghost of a person to these other people, and that's really where the song kind of like came from.
Yeah. I can definitely, and like hearing that, like I hear that and I think about, people that I don't talk to anymore. Like you're like that, like if we were to get on an elevator together, we'd be strangers. It's like that, like it's kind of wild how that can happen just, in such as life in some scenarios. But I mean, that's a gutting feeling to get that text. I mean, God, but I'm glad we got some art out of it. I'm glad we got, a way to, kind of process through, your music there.
Yeah, that's kind of my take on a lot of things nowadays. It's like if something happens and it's brutal, and this is probably not the healthiest thing, but I was like, but if I can get a good song out of it, then it's like, I was actually talking to my therapist, shout out Jeffrey, and I told him, I was like, if I'm ever emotionally well, I'm really gonna have to figure out how to do art from a good place, and that is a challenge for artists. I was like, because I've had, in some ways, the luxury of a lot of those gutting moments where it was just like it was very easy to turn that into art, and so you just it's a very lemon's lemonade kind of a thing for songwriters and artists.
Well, from the music perspective, right? You have this experience. We get inspiration. Like, what does that look like for you? In all your songs, because I mean, again, Ghost in Birmingham, very different sonically,
Yes.
So like what how do we get there, and what does that look like?
This has actually been kind of like a journey of mine, because it's like the songs that I have released versus like the project that I hope to release this year. I mean, it will be done this year, and hopefully they'll let me release it this year. We'll see what happens. Before, I was just it was part of one of those things where it's like I just kind of had to let those songs take on their own life at different points. They kind of came from different places. Ghost was really the most intentional thing that I released. It's like that was the one that's like I want to sound this way. Like Birmingham was really just me riding down the road being like, wouldn't it be funny if I made a country song? And I just started singing it in the car, and then I was like, well, daggone, I think that's actually pretty good. And then performing it, and then my band loved it, and I was like, I think I'm going to record a country song now, and so I just did, and then I was like, I've always wanted to do heavier, like alternative pop rock, and so that's Ghost. I was like, I really want to prove that I can do this. So that's like up until now, a lot of my songs and even some unreleased ones like I have are even completely different from the ones that exist. But we are working on that because, like I said, I've had a lot of people that are a lot further down this road than me. Kind of like, I've been asking them, it's like, okay, what are the next steps? Like, what am I missing to go from the level that I'm at to being like a real contender to go on tour with a bigger band, to start taking those steps. And they're like, you do need kind of like a consistent sonic brand. Not saying you can't do other things, not saying you can't have fun, and not saying you can't change it up in the future, but you do need like a solid thread. And so I'm very lucky. But that goes back to like what I said, no matter where you are as an artist, release music now. You're not beholden to it, but it's kind of like in songwriting. It's like, if you've started writing songs, you need to learn how to finish songs. And if you've written songs, you need to learn how to release songs. And then it's like, I think it was only because I took those steps and just released a country song, then released a rock song, and it kind of like was all a part of this journey of me kind of figuring out what my core sound was going to become. And so that's kind of like, I was just making the music I wanted to make that was really, really fun that day. And I just released it. And that's why it is kind of it's all over the place. It just is. And, but what's coming forward is, like I said, I've learned from all of that. All of that was great. It was a beautiful step in the process. But if I want to be taken seriously at another level, then, I am learning what that looks like and what it requires of me to do.
Got it. And you mentioned, so we've got an album that's, you said is on the way. We're working on it as we speak. On Tuesday, April 14th. We're releasing this on the 15th of April. So, it'll be, in the ether that we got something working, we got something cooking.
Yes.
So we'll definitely have people, make sure we follow you. And then you mentioned, you have a show coming up, right?
Yes.
July. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, July 12th at Eddie's Attic, which has definitely been kind of like I don't know the right phrasing for it, but we'll just say it's been like a bucket list dream of mine, because it's such a cool room and it's such a historic space, and I just have so much love for the people there that work there, and just the history in that room. And like I've just like ever since my first time being inside of Eddie's, I was like, wouldn't it be a dream to get to do this here? And so I get to and my first show is headlining, so on July 12th, 8 p.m. Eddie's Attic. We're going to be in there, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. And like I said, I think it is going to be, like, you try not to hang too much weight on any one thing. But that's basically like 3 months from now, give or take a couple of days. And so I'm really excited because I already have the band locked in, some of my favorite people, and like the album that we are making, I won't do every song off the album, because there will be an album release show when that comes. And but I want to at least have like 4 or 5 of the songs from the album ready for that show, just because I'm ready to kind of like step into this thing. So honestly, I've got a lot of big dreams for the show at Eddie's Attic, and it being kind of like a moment, the beginning of this next chapter and this next phase for my art. And so so I'm really, really excited, and we're several songs into the album already. We've got a really cool process that we're doing. I don't really know, like, it's one of those things, like, I don't know how to do things, but we're building it out, and we're doing it in a way that allows me to kind of be really creative through the process, and I'm still learning a lot. So the process that we're in gives me a lot of space to learn in between our sessions. So we're doing like 4 hours in the studio every week for the foreseeable future, give or take maybe 1 week here or there, and slowly but surely we'll build our way to it. And I would love to. So it'll be done when it gets done, but I'm holding myself accountable to just make that a priority for this year and this summer.
I love it. I mean, I think as soon as you told me it was at Eddie's, I'm like, man, full circle moment. You start off at on a Monday, now you're playing, on a headlining day, that's going to be amazing. So, Eddie's Attic's a great Atlanta venue. If you're here July 12th, go see James Lavender, go support some live music, go get your face rocked off by Ghost, go get some twang with Birmingham. I mean, look, like, it's going to be a fun journey.
It's going to be a journey. That's a good word for it. An adventure.
I love it. Well, this next part will be an adventure as well. The Pete Peterson party pack of questions, 20 questions right in a row. James Lavender, are you ready to conquer it? Rapid fire. Here we go.
Best. Yeah.
Cake or pie? Here we go.
Pie.
He's pieing it up. All right.
Yeah.
Salad or soup?
Salad.
All right, salad. All right. Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of these days?
I see more sunsets, but I do dream of seeing more sunrises. I'm trying to kind of like I'm trying to make that kind of like corrective pattern in my adult life to be awake for more sunrises.
I love it. I love it. It's a battle. I can tell you that.
It is, and it's like it's kind of like giving up like caffeine or something like that, to where it's like I know it's probably good for me, but it feels unnatural. And so I'm especially to be trying to wake up early and stop drinking caffeine simultaneously. But I'm building towards something. We're getting there.
I love it. I love it. Well, would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
Ooh. I've never hit a home run, so that would be I would want that experience. Yeah.
I love it. All right. Are you more prone to nights in or nights out nowadays?
Is this what I want to do or what I end up doing?
What you end up doing?
Nights out.
Nights out.
So that's part of the corrective pattern. I'm trying to have more intentional nights in, but I at the same time love Atlanta so much, and I've fallen in love with so many places and so many people that like I try to show up a lot for the community that I'm in, and sometimes to my own detriment.
Yeah, certainly. I feel that. Robot or the worm whenever you do go out and your jam comes on?
I haven't thought about the worm in a long time. Probably the robot would probably be the most natural thing, because again, I do love Atlanta, but I'm not touching some of those floors. That's just gonna be like I'm respectfully, yeah.
That's probably a smart call. Guac or queso at your favorite Tex-Mex spot?
Why do we have to choose? That's a terrible. Probably guac. Probably guac, but I do love queso with a passion. So that's a hard one, but yeah, guac probably.
All right. Waffles or pancakes?
I'm gonna say waffles. I appreciate the organization.
Yeah, the Waffle House. It's one of the best. Coffee or tea with your waffles?
Coffee.
Coffeeing it up. All right, trying to get off the caffeine, but we're gonna do decaf. We're decaf on the waffles. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna wean ourselves off. It's an aspiration.
Yeah, I love it. Dogs or cats?
Ooh, see, you're trying to get my like. That's like one of those questions that I feel like I need to just answer really politically, because I don't want to ostracize half of the people that listen. I have had dogs and I love dogs. I'm a good cat uncle is kind of the way that I put it. Like if someone else has had a cat, I can really enjoy their cat, but I've only ever had dogs and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, dogs.
All right, he's dog guy. I like it. All right, ninja or a pirate? What do you identify more with?
Absolutely a pirate. Absolutely a pirate. I mean, I love and respect for ninjas, but I am a pirate. I think I might be a pirate truly. So
I like it. All right, chips or pretzels?
Chips.
All right, fries or tots?
This is kind of like one of those things where I forget tots exist. Because tots are great. But there's a few spots we have around here that do like really good like extra seasoned fries, and or if somebody has sweet potato fries, like fries.
It's a more versatile way to eat a potato.
Yeah, it is, and that's what I make at home too. If I've got some in the air fryer right now, waiting for me, and so that I cut up my sweet potatoes and they're just hanging out waiting.
I love it. All right. TV show or movie while you're enjoying your sweet potato fries?
Ooh, see, here's the thing: we're a divided household here because I live with an actor, and he is so cultured and he is so wise. Another local artist named Parker Whirling, he dropped a song last Friday, and he makes me want to be more into movies. Because he is like he does, and like I said, he watches his films and he has articulate opinions about it, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was that cool. But if I'm being honest, like on the regular, I am more of a TV show. Like that's what consumes most of my TV watching. If I watch a movie, it really is like it's a social event
Sure.
Like I'm doing it with other people, but just by myself, I'm binge watching.
Yeah,
television.
I'm doing the same. All right, are aliens real?
Absolutely, aliens are real. Like I think it's crazy when people say they aren't, and so
Yeah.
I firmly believe with all of my heart, aliens are real.
I love it. All right. If you were a fruit, what kind of fruit would you be?
Oh my gosh, that's such an I love this question, but I was very taken off guard by it. If I was a fruit, what fruit would I be?
It's a new one. It's a new one we're doing.
It's a new one, yeah. It's like I've never, it's a. I will say this. I would say, they say you are what you eat, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And if that was true, I would be a banana. I like it's
right.
like I love so much fruit, but bananas are like the one thing that, like, to the point that my old roommates Chris and Katie Hart used to legitimately be medically concerned because they were like, "Go ahead."
He can't eat that much potassium, can he?
Yeah, they're like, there has to be a threshold here, and I was like, I don't think so. Like, I think I would have found it. It's basically what my 2 cents on it were, and they were like, no, this is because they honestly, they're such good-hearted, healthy people, and I am just here, and I've existed against all logic and reason, and so I was just eating bananas and they, because I would like go and buy bananas, and they were like, this is way too much for all 3 of us, and I was like, oh, I wasn't planning on 3 of us. What are you talking about? Like, these are my bananas.
These
like,
are mine.
Yeah, no, we did share everything, and it was a really healthy situation. But I do be loving some bananas. Can I flip that? What fruit would you be, Grant?
Somebody said like mango, but if you're doing with the I've thought about it. And I think I'm kind of something tropical, so I got to go like mango or like orange or like something
Okay.
along those lines. Orange is my favorite color, which would be like kind of like the similar deal. But yeah, I think I'm going something citrus.
Okay, I love that for you. I see you as a tropical. I see you on a beach.
Yeah,
As a fruit. Yeah.
I love that. Love to be in the blender. Getting in there.
Yeah. Mix things up.
Mix
chop
it up.
with my yeah.
Get in there. I love it.
I love that. Yeah.
All right. Last 2. Is love at first sight real?
It's I think it depends on what your definition. I mean, I know this is supposed to be like a rapid fire thing, but I think it depends on what your definition of love is, because I've seen a few pastries in my time, and I was struck, I'll admit it. Is love at first sight real? You know what? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it isn't. But I will say that, like, I think it's very possible to kind of like have that. Like, I definitely have felt like I've been struck by lightning before when I met someone, and I was like, this is like, and have fallen in love with that person, or those people. But I don't know that love. I think love is something probably a little too deep to just be that instantaneous.
Fair enough. All right. And give me 2 bands that we might not know that we ought to check out.
Awesome. Does it, so like by bands it can be artists, right?
Artists, bands, authors if you want. I've had an author on here who I had to get I had to, but give me a couple artists who are making some music.
I'm a book nerd, but yeah, let's stick with that. I'm gonna give 2 other Atlanta artists a shout out just because they have meant the world to me, and I want their success. There's very few things that would make me happier than to see them just like blow up. One is Parker Whirling, who is just such a good friend of mine and somebody who has helped me evolve as an artist and grow as an artist. And then Aaron Rizzo is the other one, who's just another absolute legend. And like both of those guys, I just have such huge love and respect for, and they've also just like stood behind me and like lifted me towards doing things well and doing things right. And they've always been there for me. And so like, and it just blows me away because if you go listen to the music they have out now, and just this, like, these guys are just going to keep making great music. It blows my mind that I get to have people like that in my life, and I get to call them a friend. And so, yeah, those 2 guys are absolute legends. The world just doesn't know it yet.
I love it. Well, hopefully we can give them a couple more shouts here, along with obviously getting some more folks to get on the Lavender train and ride it and get ready for the the releases coming out this year. And of course, July 12th, Eddie's Attic, James Lavender, headline show. Kind of a full circle moment for him. So we appreciate you taking the time to come through the Indiebnb, and look forward to seeing all these releases coming your way.
Absolutely.
All right, man.